Okay, this is a continuation of an earlier lecture from today. And once again, we've got the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo, with the Mexican sombrero. Okay, what does it mean? Um, is it Mexican Independence Day? That's what I think it is. The thing is, sometimes I have like impressions that that's Mexican Independence Day, but I'm not 100% sure because something is stopping me from having a really good memory. In a high vibrational state, will you still have the effect of poor memory? Um, I don't know, because I'm not there. Last time my consciousness was calibrated on the scale of human consciousness, it was 540 unconditional love. And my goal is not to stay at 540. My goal is to continue up the path towards higher and higher states of consciousness. What's that got to do with Mexican Independence Day? Maybe we'll come back. I don't know. It's not being given to me right now. Okay, this one is that is a construction firm. Okay, and I got this hat at the Value Village, which is a secondhand store. And um, why am I giving you this one? Maybe you'll need some construction done. I usually say this is TJ, and I was telling you the story in the last lecture that TJ was a co-worker of mine at a car dealership. We sold new and used cars. What else can I tell you about TJ? Not too much. I haven't seen TJ in years. And what else can I say? Somebody wants to say Tom Jones was a bit of literature. I think it's correct. I think Tom Jones was some kind of literature that I'm not familiar with. It just sounds like it was. I'm pretty sure that it was. What else can I say about this? We were talking about, it also looks kind of like LT. We're talking about lieutenants and officers in the military. I've never been in the military in this lifetime. In a past life, I have no idea. But I did watch quite a few military movies over the years, so whatever I know is from military movies and some books, the Tom Clancy kind of books and W.E.B. Griffin books, which I quite enjoyed. Um, why didn't I go into the military when I was young? The military summer program in high school didn't pay that well, and I worked at a paper mill that paid a lot more. So it was basically money. And it was strangely enough, when I was in high school and they had computerized testing to see what your aptitude was, the number one thing the computer said, based upon my answers to all the questions, the number one answer of the career I should have gone into was military officer. Why didn't I follow up on that? I'd seen enough movies about the carnage in war, and I had no desire to go and get all shot up. I thought I might like to be a pilot if I was going to go in the military, but I wore glasses when I was young. My eyesight was not good, so I wouldn't have been able to be much of a pilot. Somebody said, "Well, if you don't have the best eyesight, you might be able to play like somebody who flies the slow planes." But everyone always says, "Well, it's the jets that are successful." The words are coming out wrong. It's mostly um, to fly a high performance plane. Uh, you have to have very good eyesight. My eyesight wasn't good. I used to play hockey when I was 12 in a competitively. No, it was like the bottommost league that you can play in. Mostly, well, because I didn't know how to play. I didn't know how to play hockey. Other people had started playing hockey when they were 5. I didn't, so I didn't have the experience. I still wanted to play because my friends were playing, but because I didn't have good eyesight, and in those days you had to wear either a plastic visor or metal cage in front of your face to protect you. And my glasses had a nasty habit of fogging up all the time. And the idea of playing with glasses while I'm playing a hot and sweaty game of hockey didn't make any sense. So I played without glasses and I suffered for it because I couldn't coordinate getting my hockey stick on the puck because I couldn't see good enough. Much later on in life, I went to contact lenses, which were a great improvement over glasses, except for my eyes that would always dry out. And I'd have to take them out, and I'd go, oh, my eyes were just so dry. And then finally, I had the laser eye surgery, which was the biggest miracle in my life up to that point in time, because my eyes were able to see beautifully. Today, my eyes are quite good, although sometimes when they're tired, I need to use those little cheater reading glasses. What's this all about? Why I'm not a military officer. Okay, this is Steel, which, as you know, is a manufacturer of small power appliances, weed whippers, chainsaws, and stuff like that. What else can I tell you about Mr. Steel? I don't know why I was given to put this hat on. Okay. L, 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 and it looks like hits. Okay, you're looking at STIH, or L. But if you look this way, it's HITS, because I'm looking at the camera and the camera's giving me a reverse view or a mirror image. So I'm seeing hits. What is hits all about? I don't know yet. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is Komatsu, and I've got, well, US in reverse, or U2, which is the band or the U2 spy plane from the CIA. This is TAM, which is Tam O'Shanter, which is a kind of Bonnie Prince Charlie Scottish hat or cap. This way it's mat, M-A-T, like yoga mats, wrestling mats, or M-A-A-T, which is mat, which is old Egyptian, meaning everything is in balance. And, okay, or okay this way, which is backwards for you, or KO, which is knockout. TSU, that's like Sun Tzu, who was the one who wrote the great treatise on how to win at war. On War was the name of the book. And when I was in business school, that book was mentioned as something that you could consider for how to compete in the marketplace. Everything from if you were in a big business to if you were small. And it was used to describe how the smallest of the big three automakers, Chrysler Corporation, could compete using guerrilla warfare against some big giants, Ford and General Motors. Okay, this is my Frank Burns, Major Frank Burns from MASH 407th hat. And what else do I want to talk about? Well, Frank Burns, when I did him, he was talking about his wife Louise, who apparently had kicked him out because she found out about his affair with Hot Lips Houlihan. What else happened to Frank Burns? Well, he was a medical doctor, a surgeon, and everyone knows that they make a lot of money. The latest thing to happen for the second time for my parents, who are elderly, senior citizens, is that their doctor has, the first one retired, the second one has decided to pick up stakes and leave town. And what has happened for the second time is the doctors, instead of handing over the medical records to their patients, have sent the medical records to a company in Toronto, Canada, And then the company in Toronto, Canada, turns around and phones these senior citizens and says, we have your medical records. You need them for your next new doctor. It's going to cost you at least $100 for us to send these to your new doctor. Do you want to pay? How does that make you feel? It makes me want to go and find this damn doctor that's leaving town and punch him in the nose and kick him in the balls. Seriously, you want to do this to all kinds of people, not only the senior citizens, but the poor mom who's working full time and she's got two or three kids to look after and she doesn't have $100. And the fact is that this doctor makes a really good living, and it's all on government because it's an Ontario province, and Ontario province pays whatever bills are submitted by doctors. So why does this doctor do this? Why did the previous doctor do it? Because they get a kickback from this Toronto company. It's a profit-making thing for this doctor. What is the number one reason doctors are doctors? Because it's a high-paying job. It is a high-paying job, and they're in it for the money. And this is a prime example. 2 doctors in a row, same tactic. You're my patient. I could give you your records. No, I'm going to make money off your own medical records that the government already paid me to make. So I can make a little bit more money. And I don't know if you're a senior citizen and your pension is already stretched and maxed out. Doesn't matter, you're going to pay. This is a sign of collapse of society. Egoic doctors. You're telling me that these doctors are doing it out of compassion? No, they have no compassion. They are all greedy motherfuckers. And if you think somehow that you can trust these doctors, you cannot trust these doctors. I heard another story last night. Someone had a bad infection from a cut, and they sent them out of town to the major center in the area to get this that had to have surgery to repair this bad infection. It was flesh-eating disease. And the surgeons that did it made a nasty mess. And they sent them back to the small town, and the doctors opened up the bandages and looked, and they were aghast. What the hell have you done here? Because it wasn't sewn up properly. It was butt ugly. It was a third-rate job, and you know damn well the surgeons charge premium prices to the government for this job. So the little town doctors had to send this person back. And because it's so far out of the major center, the government pays for this person and a companion to go and stay in a hotel in the major center so they can get medical care. So the government is paying and paying and paying, and who is the government billing? Joe taxpayer. So once again, am I glad there's medical doctors? Yeah, everyone needs them, but what is their motivation? They've got a God-given talent, and what are they doing with it? Maybe some of them are good, but I've met a lot of doctors in my life, and what's my general opinion of doctors? They are really slipshod. In other words, when I go into the doctor's office and, I've got a few things to talk about, and after I've talked about one thing, they're like shooing me out the door. I've got more patients to see. I don't like that attitude. I don't like the attitude of, well, it's unbelievable what doctors have done with me. Unbelievable. And I find them a smarmy bunch. They think that they know everything. They're incredibly stupid, and they're slipshod. When you come in and you think you've got an infection, they prescribe whatever antibiotic comes to mind. In the old days, not that long ago, 40 years ago, If you had an infection, they would take a sample of whatever the infected tissue was and send it to a lab so they know what exactly is infecting you, so they know what the right antibiotic is. Not today. They just prescribe any old thing, usually the most expensive one. Why? Because a lot of times it's been clamped down on apparently, but in the past, not that long ago, doctors were treated by drug companies for pushing certain drugs. It's a scumbag outfit, pharmaceuticals, and the doctors are in league with it. Money, 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 money. And you know it because the doctors are the ones that like to live high on the hog in huge houses and huge vacation properties, blah, blah, blah. You think they work hard? I don't know. What happens when you go in to see the GP? He sits there, yep, 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 writes your prescription. And then if you need some kind of form filled out, because somebody else needs a form, that'll be $40 into my pocket, please. I don't have much respect for the medical profession. If I break my leg, I guess I got to go see them. But seriously, these people need a major shift in consciousness. Next thing I've got, okay, this is the black hat, which is the critical eye. And if that wasn't critical enough for you, where else am I going to get critical? Okay, we're going to go back to Mad Magazine. And what am I critical about with Mad Magazine? Is it mothers against drunk drivers? The point of the matter is, Mad Magazine is about comedy and it's about satire. In other words, taking pop culture and, poking a hole in it and making you go, yeah, or whatever, making you laugh, it's basically aimed at you when you're 11 years old because it explains to you how stupid and monkey-minded adults are. What else about mothers against drunk driving? I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it. Okay, this is what it is. Mothers Against Drunk Driving is basically a high-priced organization that uses tragedy to collect money from people. And the reports are that Mothers Against Drunk Driving takes most of the money and they pay it in salaries to people at Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Not to advertising. I mean, you see the advertising, but they take a whole shitload. They pay themselves a whole pile of money. Why don't they just volunteer for the organization so that all the money goes somewhere? I had another case today. My parents were out at the grocery store, and which is right next to the liquor store. And they saw some fairly young person, say 30 years old, in a wheelchair with a sign, I need money for food. And they know what these people are like because it's right by the liquor store. And you see these people hanging out, passed out all over the place by the liquor store. So they drove past and went and got some groceries or something. And then when they came back out, the same person who had been sitting in the wheelchair, pretending to be disabled, was up walking around. Scumbags. Okay, I'm back with Stiel. Stiel! What does Stiel mean to you? It sounds like Wiener Schnitzel or something. It definitely sounds Germanic to me. Why are we talking about Germanic stuff? Okay, I've got here the Maple Leafs Hockey Club from Toronto. What has Stiel got to do with hockey? Is it the end of wooden hockey sticks? Or I don't think they're made of steel. They're probably made of some kind of composite material. I don't know what the point of this one is. Composite materials instead of wooden hockey sticks. Composites. It has to do with the fact that humans are composite beings. We are a composite of, it's hard to tell you exactly what, it's just that there are multiple things in us. And even in the physical human being, you've got all the organ systems in the body hooked up to the brain and the heart, but you've also got an unbelievable number of microorganisms that are growing in your intestines. Are they part of you? They're part of your human system, believe it or not. If you didn't have them, you wouldn't be able to digest your food. What else? I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe that's enough for now. Okay, we're back to pink. Now the color is pink. The lighting's not the best, but what happens when you're wearing a pink hat? A very Miami Vice from the 1980s, Don Johnson. Um, I think of Miami. Michael Mann did all the lighting and so the cinematography of it all. They wore pink and white, a lot of neon colors. I think of giant cigarette boats that go 60 miles an hour or more across the ocean. Incredible vast amounts of money. Mm, pink. Usually it's a feminine color. You think, well, if it's a boy, you dress a boy in a blue sweater, a girl, it goes in a pink sweater. This is blue and pink. Oh, we're going this way. Okay, this is the cougar. The cougar. And what else do I want to talk to you about mountain lions for? Or maybe it's just the big teeth. Jaws. Let's go with jaws. Okay, so this cougar has got not the biggest jaws, not as big as Peter Benchley, and this is the great white shark. Jaws. What do I want to talk to you about Jaws for? Jaws. It's not Jobs. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. No, it's not about Steve Jobs. Not about a job. It's about the incredible feast that's going on by Hungry, Hungry, Hungry. And this one looks pretty hungry. It looks pretty like, is it anger or it's just vicious? I think it's vicious. Anger is a response to something. Is a mountain lion angry? Only if maybe you come near its cubs and it's a mama. But if it's vicious, it's probably just really famished and hungry and it needs to feed. This is kind of an old-fashioned 4-engine prop plane. On the cover of my first school dictionary, it had a prop plane like this because I think the dictionary was at her house, and I think it was my mother's dictionary that she probably got. I don't know, probably printed in the 1940s, and this would have been. I'm not sure which model this would be with 4 engines on a passenger plane. What else do you want to know about this? It's mostly about how things that are old-fashioned come back into use again. So the interesting story is I live in a city of 100,000 people, and quite often we fly from here to major centers. And when I was young, we flew on DC-9s and 737s, jet planes. And then what happened is they reverted to prop planes to service our city. Is that progress? No, it's slower. And it's more ancient technology. Well, I guess they're turboprop. What the whole point of the jet engine and the jet age is to get there faster by air. If you want to go slow, you can take a car or a bus. But, when you get jet service, you kind of expect to get someplace fast. And then they say, no, you don't get that anymore. And what happens when you're on board any commercial airline these days, and it's been this way forever, you are jammed in. And they constantly talk about this is so they can maximize profits. It's nothing to do with creature comforts for humans. Humans are treated like cattle by companies all the time. You are treated subhuman. I'm sorry for the cows, but seriously, if you why? Because it's always profits over people. Capitalism and corporatism. What else can I tell you? When I was first flying, when I was, I don't know, I guess I might have been 13, the first time I was on a jet airplane. And for quite some time after that, when you got on a plane, you were fed. And it wasn't, like cookies or pretzels like it is today. You got a tray and you had real china and metal utensils, and you had complimentary wine if you were the proper age, if you wanted it. And you were fed a gourmet dinner, chicken or fish. And it was good. It was like what you would order at a really good restaurant. And in those days when I was young, if you were a little gaffer, and you had never been on a plane before, the waitress, stewardess, whatever you want, flight attendant, would bring you up, and you could go and see what it was like at the front of the plane with the pilots. And the pilots were friendly. And because they just love little guys or little girls. They just love kids. It doesn't happen anymore. There's nothing. There's no nothing. You are treated just for your money. And all the excitement about being a jet setter in the 1960s. In the 1960s, the 747 was the largest passenger plane, and the upper deck was a bar, a free-form bar where you could go up and have a drink and mingle with people. It was fun to travel on the plane in those days. Sure, they smoked cigarettes on board. Hard to believe they ever figured that was smart. A plane full of jet fuel and let everybody smoke cigarettes on board. I didn't enjoy that part of it, being stuck. They're forced to smoke secondhand smoke. But there was a lot of fun in traveling in those days. And traveling on a plane now is not fun. It's an ordeal. Everyone hates it. They hate it, they hate it, they hate it. So what does it mean? Once again, if this is progress, no, it ain't progress. It is always about more money for the airlines, more money for, well, I don't know who it's for, but it sure ain't for me. Okay, this is back to my orange and green colors. Orange and green are the colors of Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland. I was going to say Northern Ireland. Yes, Northern Ireland. Ireland is an island nation. Northern Ireland, at least the last time I looked, is about 50% Protestant, 50% Roman Catholic. So the green is traditionally the color of Ireland as a whole, and the orange is the Protestant part. So I don't know, is it even 1/4 of the whole island is Protestant? What's the point? The point of the whole thing is you're on a little tiny island and you're broken up into divisions based upon sects, sects, of supposed to be the same Christian religion. Well, the battling has basically been gone for quite some time. But, when I was a youth, there was all kinds of these troubles going on in Ireland, a little tiny island country. What has changed? I don't know. We just seem to have a hell of a lot of problems with religion to this day. Someone sent me an item about somebody who was Islamic. And I didn't get around to watching it because I just saw the headline. And it was one of these crazy Islamic people that want to institute Islamic law and impose Islam on all the other people. That's kind of like Ireland. I'm Reverend Ian Paisley. He was the leader of the Protestants. He was a fat boor. And on the other side, I don't know what the hell you would say about them. Mostly, they figure other people. It wasn't about Christianity. It was about slaughter. Slaughter. So it's the same thing with this Islamic fundamentalist. It's not about anything to do with anything but the same shit we see all the time. Abuse of power. This side says, never give up. Never give up. Who's never going to give up? Never going to give you up. Was that Rick Astley? What are we going to give up? We don't seem to be getting anything. It's just a constant erosion. Erosion in our standards of living. It never seems to end. When's it going to change? You can't say. Okay, this hat I've worn before in previous videos, primarily because it's a 33, which is the official topmost degree of, there's other things that they've got. I'm no Mason, but 33rd degree Mason is basically, when you do your Masonic pass, 33 is the highest you get. And apparently it's an honorary thing to get 33. You can do the studies and you can get to 32, but somehow somebody who's in a position of power within the Masons confers 33 on you. Anyway, I usually do this because this is the hat that is like the wisdom teacher. Are they really wise at 33? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know a 33rd degree Mason. I don't know. But 33 is, multiples of 11 are in Masonic symbology. And I don't know what else I can tell you. Old Spice is the smell you get. It's a very old kind of men's cologne. And what's on the back? Old Spice is on the back. And it's NASCAR. This is a NASCAR hat, and this one sponsors some car racer who's signed his name, and it's illegible. I can't tell you. Maybe it's here. Oh, yes, this is Kevin Harvick, Inc. Kevin Harvick, Inc. I don't know. I don't follow NASCAR. It looks to me like we've got on Old Spice, we've got a sailing ship. And sailing ships used to cruise the 7 seas, picking up goods like spices to bring to you and me. Okay, I've got my black hat on backwards again. I don't know where we're going next. We're going back to Mad Magazine, and we have got the sombrero. Earlier we saw it in the Cinco de Mayo. Now this is more of a cowboy Stetson that Leo DiCaprio is wearing. What else do we want to know about this? Oh, Alfred E. Newman. This is hard to see. Alfred E. Newman. He is rubbing his nose. He has an itchy nose. I've mentioned this before. I'm constantly getting itchy nose. It drives me nuts sometimes. Sometimes it itches around here. And I told you before what it is. It is nasty things that are doing this to you. It's nasty things. I don't know exactly what they are, but they aren't good for you. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not doing it to you. The metaphysical writer Stuart Wilde said they are etheric bugs. Bugs in the etheric, there it goes in here. I don't think it's etheric bugs. I think it's demonic. Demonics are intelligent, and there they go again. Just on cue, they're doing it. Demonics are intelligent, and just because you can't see them doesn't mean they can't see you. How do they do it? I'm not a demonic. My guess is they can see you from where they are, and they have got, I don't know what the hell they're using, but they can do it, and they do it. And they got every human in their sights because there are zillions of these demonic beings. How did they get demonic? I don't know, but they are there, and who is there? People that are supposed to be rubbing them out. Stuart Wilde was given to rub a bunch of them out by powers of the celestial beings. Apparently, there's still a lot of them around. Some of them are thumping on my ceiling right now. The next item is Waking Up in 5D by Maureen Saint Germain. 5D is the fifth dimension, and that is basically an idea that you go to a higher frequency when you go to higher consciousness. And I don't know what else to tell you about that. It was the song The Fifth Dimension by Age of Aquarius, it's the reverse actually, that explains everything about the 5D world. The next one I've got this poor woman is advertising for women's hygiene products. It won't focus. What's the point of it all? This is a bladder leak pad. So it's somebody who's got leaky bladder. I need some of these pads. Why is it? There's nothing wrong with me physically. Why does it happen? Demonic activity. The demons have access to your body, and the ones that are familiar with me, the ones that are itching me right now, also from time to time, relax my sphincter muscle on my bladder, and I pee a little bit. Is it annoying? Yes. Is there anything I can do about it? As they always say, what are you going to do about it? I keep telling the demons that bigger and bigger demons are going to come and are going to beat them up. Demons are really stupid. They somehow think that they're king of the hill, and they're still smirking right now because they say, it doesn't matter because in the meantime, I'm picking on you. Let's see. Ancient sources of strength and knowledge. Who are they? Books. Ancient sources of strength and wisdom. Wisdom keepers. Wisdom keepers are people who read books and go and learn from what other wisdom teachers are around. What can I tell you about me? Am I a wisdom keeper? I don't know. I got about 2,000 videos up here on YouTube. What wisdom can I tell you? Even with all the wisdom in the world, you can't beat up on demonics. What can you do with demonics? Well, you can talk to them. Some of them listen, and some of them stop being demonic. Some of them are like really disruptive students in a classroom. Everyone knows these kind of class clown people. Some of these demonics are like that. And some of them, even when they're warned what's going to happen to them, they sneer and they get in your voice and, they make you want to sneeze and all kinds of nasty things. What's going to happen to the demons that are affecting me right now? Most of the ones aren't so much demonic anymore. And the ones that are the newer ones. They come in when they're really nasty, and gradually they tend to mellow out. In the end, they are going to become either dead meat if they don't change their negative nature, or they can get back on the path to enlightenment. Staying in one place is what a lot of humans do during a lifetime. They come in at a certain calibrated level of consciousness, and they don't make much progress in one human life. Don't be one of those. Work hard on your spiritual enlightenment, because the benefits are you don't have to come back to a world with demons where you're constantly itching and they're playing with your body. Now, the whole idea about the Earth Ascension and 5D is that a whole pile of people apparently incarnated as humans at this particular juncture in time to bring the whole frequency of the planet up. And the end game of that is it's still on. And what's happening with the demons? Well, if they're coming around me, they get to learn about it. If they come around you, what are they going to learn about you? Maybe you're an easy feast. Anyways, that's what this one is all about. It's about wearing pads, because if you leak, the pad collects your pee. This one, it's an okay, it's okay. I also said when I first looked at it, it looks like a beer stein. What can I tell you about beer steins? Avoid beer. Not only does it make you fat, it has enormous amounts of calories and the sugar and the alcohol. It dries you out. It's liquid, but it doesn't hydrate you. It dehydrates you because the alcohol takes water out of your system. And if you get dehydrated, you'll get terrible hangovers. And when you drink alcohol, if you drink too much of it, you tend to become uninhibited, where you start doing stupid things, and then you get completely ridiculously drunk, and then next thing you know, really bad things happen. You either do really bad things to other people that you used to consider your friends but now won't talk to you, or you just get in a fight with somebody else who's really drunk, and next day you wake up with a broken nose and black eyes. So avoid alcohol of all types, and make sure you drink lots more water than what you're used to, because as we are going through Earth Ascension, you just need to be super well hydrated, which means I need to have a glass of water. So Edgar the Loose Demon, who's been hassling me for quite a long time, and his partner King Clancy, who love to get down into my hip bones and cause me pain, and then be really snarky, and they bring their friend Mr. Smarmy around. So these are the three nastiest demons that I have associated with my body right now. I just gave them a lecture again. They've only heard it a million times about why they need to stop being mean to me. And the biggest answer that I always get from them is, what are you going to do about them? And well, I'm not going to do nothing about them. I mean, they're invisible to me, non-physical. I feel them in my bones, but you know, some other demon. I keep saying some other demon is going to come along and it's going to beat you up because demons are like that. Some of them will work as allies, but some of them are just apparently they just want it all for themselves. And these ones, I've warned them about these ones, and I've said they've already got you in their sights. And because they're all demonics, they live on negative energy called steam or loosh. And when Stuart Wilde saw his visions of how it was all going to end, it was basically all these loosh demons fighting one another because there's a limited supply of this negative energy. And they all want it. And when they get hungry and the other one's got some loosh left over, they're going to fight each other for it. So in the end, evil fights evil while the other ones walk away. Not the demons, maybe the former demons and the humans, even though there's some demonic humans, everyone knows. Okay, this is a white hat. The time is 46 minutes in. If you're still with me, wow. Mostly this is just something I do to pass the time while I wait to go. Maybe I go out to karaoke. Sometimes I haven't been going out to karaoke because Edgar the Loose Demon and some of his friends have been very nasty. And anyway, let's see. I don't have anything else to tell you except a white hat is maybe somebody in government, for example, who is working for the betterment of the people, not self-serving. And the white hats are who we're counting on to remove